What if the device meant to protect your child accidentally revealed a secret that could destroy your entire family? And what if the only person who heard it was the employee you pay to change diapers and do laundry? This isn't a hypothetical question. This is the shocking reality one nanny faced, and the decision she made in that moment will challenge everything you think you know about privacy, loyalty, and the invisible line between employee and family. We install baby monitors to keep our children safe, but we never consider that they might also expose our deepest secrets to the domestic workers we invite into our homes. This true story reveals an uncomfortable truth. The people we often treat as invisible are actually our most intimate witnesses, seeing and hearing things that would make your hair stand on end. I'm about to share an emotional story that will make you look at your own household help completely differently. This isn't just another inspirational tale. This is a raw, real-life human drama that proves sometimes the person making minimum wage holds more power to heal a family than any expensive therapist or marriage counselor. Get ready to discover how one nanny's impossible choice between professional boundaries and human compassion led to a series of events that would either destroy a family or save them from themselves. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a baby monitor or the working-class heroes in your life the same way again. You know, some of the most powerful truths in life are overheard rather than heard directly. Think about the domestic workers who move through our homes like quiet ghosts, witnessing our most unguarded moments. These working-class heroes often become the silent keepers of family secrets, and their storytelling potential is absolutely incredible because they see the real picture behind the perfect family facade. Meet Rosa, a 28-year-old nanny from Honduras who'd been caring for the Thompson family's newborn for 3 months. Now, here's the thing about real life in wealthy households. The help often sees more truth in 1 week than family therapists see in a year. Rosa's immigrant story was one of those quiet sagas of observation and loyalty, where her minimum wage job came with front-row seats to a human drama she never signed up for. If you've ever been in a position where you've overheard something you shouldn't have, you know the moral tightrope I'm talking about. The key is to approach such situations with wisdom, not reaction. For Rosa, this meant keeping her observations to herself until she understood the full picture. In your own life, when you're privy to sensitive information, practice the 24-hour rule. Wait a day before deciding what to do with it. The baby monitor became Rosa's unexpected window into the Thompsons' crumbling marriage. During little Sophie's nap times, she'd hear arguments through the device that were never meant for her ears. At first, she tried to ignore them, focusing on her duties, but the conversations were becoming increasingly alarming. The tension in the house was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and Rosa found herself caught in the middle of a storm she didn't create. The moment everything changed came on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Sophie was sleeping peacefully while Rosa folded laundry in the nursery. The baby monitor crackled to life, but instead of baby sounds, it carried a conversation from the master bedroom that made Rosa's blood run cold. This is where our true story shifts from observation to intervention, where a domestic worker becomes an unexpected hero in someone else's emotional story. I'm taking Sophie and moving to my mother's. Mrs. Thompson's voice trembled through the monitor. You'll never change, Mark. The drinking, the lies. What followed was a confession so shocking that Rosa actually dropped the tiny onesie she was folding. Mr. Thompson wasn't just having an affair. He was embezzling from his own company, and his partner was threatening to expose everything. This wasn't just marital problems. This was a life imploding. Now, here's a crucial life lesson about overhearing sensitive information. Context is everything. Before jumping to conclusions or taking action, make sure you understand what you're really hearing. Rosa could have immediately called the wife or quit her job, but instead, she started paying closer attention to patterns. Mr. Thompson's late nights, Mrs. Thompson's red-rimmed eyes, the unusual number of hushed phone calls. As the argument escalated through the tiny speaker, Rosa realized this was more than just a marriage in trouble. It was a situation that could literally destroy a family and leave an innocent baby caught in the crossfire. The working class often finds themselves in these impossible positions, where speaking up could cost them their job, but staying silent could cost someone else their future. Rosa's moral compass was spinning wildly, unsure which direction was right. For 3 agonizing days, Rosa carried the weight of what she'd heard. Every time she looked at baby Sophie's innocent face, her heart ached with the knowledge of what might be coming. This is the raw, unfiltered human drama that domestic workers face daily, the conflict between professional boundaries and human compassion. Rosa's immigrant story was about to take a turn that would test every principle she held dear. The practical dilemma was immense. If she told Mrs. Thompson what she knew about the embezzlement, she'd be revealing she'd been eavesdropping through the baby monitor. If she went to Mr. Thompson, she might be putting herself in danger. If she said nothing, a baby's future could be destroyed by her father's impending financial collapse. This inspirational tale was becoming a masterclass in ethical decision-making under pressure. Here's a framework you can use for any moral dilemma. Weigh the consequences using a simple 2x2 grid. What happens if I act? What happens if I don't? Who benefits? Who gets hurt? For Rosa, this meant realizing that Sophie's well-being had to come first, even if it meant risking her job. Sometimes the right choice isn't the safe one, and that's where character is truly forged in real-life situations. The breaking point came when Rosa overheard Mr. Thompson on a hushed call saying, "I've got 1 week to come up with the money or we're finished." The desperation in his voice was palpable, and Rosa knew she was witnessing someone on the brink of making terrible decisions. The baby monitor, meant to protect a child, had become the unlikely instrument that might save an entire family from destruction. What Rosa did next defines what separates passive observers from active heroes in true stories. She didn't confront, accuse, or reveal what she knew directly. Instead, she used wisdom worthy of Solomon. She began leaving subtle resources around the house that might help without exposing her knowledge. A pamphlet for financial counseling placed where Mrs. Thompson would find it, a note about debt management services accidentally left on the kitchen counter. The genius of Rosa's approach was in its deniability and compassion. She wasn't attacking or exposing. She was offering lifelines while maintaining plausible deniability. This working-class woman was demonstrating more emotional intelligence than most corporate negotiators. Her storytelling instincts told her that people can't hear truth when they're drowning in shame, so she offered buoys instead of lectures. If you ever need to help someone who's in denial or too proud to ask for assistance, try this indirect approach. Share stories of others who faced similar challenges, leave relevant books or articles where they might find them, or ask questions that help them arrive at solutions themselves. People embrace what they discover far more than what they're told, especially in sensitive situations. The turning point came when Mrs. Thompson found the financial counseling pamphlet and actually made an appointment. Through tears during little Sophie's feeding time, she confessed to Rosa that they were having some money troubles, a massive understatement, but a crack in the dam nonetheless. Rosa simply listened, offered a comforting hand, and in that moment, became more than staff. She became a confidant. The real breakthrough happened when Mr. Thompson came home early one afternoon and found Rosa singing to Sophie in Spanish. Instead of his usual rushed greeting, he lingered, watching them with an expression of profound sadness. "She's lucky to have you," he said quietly, and in that unguarded moment, Rosa saw not a corrupt executive, but a terrified man in over his head. This emotional story was revealing the human beings beneath the problems. What happened next was straight out of a movie, but this was real life. Rosa looked at him with the same gentle compassion she showed the baby and said, "Everyone needs help sometimes, Mr. Thompson. There's no shame in asking for it." It was a simple statement, but delivered with such genuine care that it bypassed his defenses completely. The tough businessman actually broke down right there in the nursery. Now here's a powerful life lesson about helping people in crisis. Sometimes the most transformative thing you can offer isn't advice or solutions, but the permission to be human. By creating a safe space without judgment, Rosa allowed both Thompsons to gradually reveal their struggles. Your ability to listen without fixing can be more healing than any brilliant solution you might offer. Over the next week, with Rosa's quiet encouragement, the Thompsons began attending counseling together. Mr. Thompson confessed the embezzlement to his partners and worked out a repayment plan. Mrs. Thompson found the strength to set boundaries instead of running away. And through it all, the baby monitor remained silent during nap times, not because the problems had disappeared, but because the conversations had moved from confrontation to connection. 6 months later, the Thompson household was unrecognizable, and not because they'd hired a new interior decorator. The tension had been replaced by honest communication, the secrets by shared vulnerability. This inspirational transformation proved that sometimes the most powerful agents of change aren't the experts with degrees, but the domestic workers who lead with heart rather than textbooks. The Thompsons never learned exactly how much Rosa had overheard or how strategically she'd intervened. They simply knew that during their darkest time, their nanny had been a steady, compassionate presence who believed in their family even when they'd stopped believing in themselves. And that, my friends, is the beautiful irony of this human drama. The person they paid to care for their child ended up saving their entire family system. If you take one thing from Rosa's story, let it be this: your quiet presence in someone's life might be the very anchor they need during their storm. You don't need a fancy title or special training to make a difference. You just need to show up with empathy and the courage to care. Look around your world today. Who might need your version of leaving pamphlets or offering gentle words? Rosa still works for the Thompsons, and little Sophie is now a toddler with two parents who are actively rebuilding their marriage and their lives. The baby monitor still sits on the nursery shelf, but now it only carries the sweet sounds of a happy baby in a healed home. And Rosa's immigrant story continues, reminding us all that sometimes the most profound life lessons come from the people we hire to do the simple jobs. So let me ask you directly, who are the silent witnesses in your life? The nannies, cleaners, or domestic workers who see your real life when you think nobody's watching? And more importantly, are you treating them with the respect and dignity that such intimate access deserves? Your answer to these questions might determine what happens when they inevitably overhear something you never intended them to hear. I want you to think about the moral dilemmas you might be forcing onto the working class people in your world. Are you putting them in positions where they have to choose between their job and their conscience? I'm genuinely curious. Share in the comments. Have you ever been in Rosa's position, knowing something you shouldn't, and how did you handle it? Remember this powerful truth. The people we often treat as just help are actually moral agents with their own compasses, their own wisdom, and their own capacity to impact our lives in ways we never anticipate. The baby monitor in this story isn't just a device. It's a metaphor for all the ways our private lives inevitably become public to those who serve us. If this message made you rethink your relationships with the service workers in your life, if it opened your eyes to the human drama playing out in plain sight, then do something about it right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we share real, raw stories like this every week. We're building a community that believes everyone has a story worth hearing, especially the quiet heroes working in the background of our lives.